Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to That Good Trouble podcast. I'm your host, Crystal with a K. I'm here to take you on a journey, a long journey. This is the podcast that is designed to keep you informed while also keeping you sane as possible. Um, Here to help me break it all down tonight is my very good friend Megan Liana, or Ms. Megan Liana, if you want to follow her on TikTok. What's up, Megan?
Hey, Crystal, girl. It's a lot
Girl,
going on.
too much, one might say.
Way too
Uh,
much. I'm tired of all these existential crises we're living through.
yeah, I feel that Gen X and millennials have had their fair share, and I feel like we're good. Like we don't need no more. Like we're full. Like we are good to go. But the good times just keep on coming. So we're
They
we're
do.
gonna try. We're gonna try our best to break this down for y'all.
Right. I feel like we can only do our best because it's like it seems like every hour there's like a new update. So it's like, we're going to let y'all know what's going on up until now.
Up until literally now. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification because that's all we can do is our best. And if y'all see something or find something out while we're here, just pop in the comments. We'll do our best to make sure we see those and recognize what you're saying. But without further ado, here we go. So today is July 3rd, 2025. And today is the day that the United States Congress passed the big, beautiful bill, a bill put together by President Trump. I I can't be sure that President Trump has read this bill or that he knows exactly what's in it, but he gonna sign it tomorrow.
Ain't they supposed to be closed on the holiday?
Oh, right. It's a federal
Like, I don't
holiday.
understand the rush for for 4th of July when it's like, y'all ain't even supposed to be in session right now. Like, y'all supposed to be in the Hamptons doing what y'all do or wherever y'all go.
Mm.
I agree. I don't think he's read the bill. I don't even think, sometimes they talk about how like there's a question of if he can really read. And
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's
I've wondered
like,
about that, but the only way I know that he can is that at those rallies, there's always a teleprompter, and he goes into the weave or whatever. He'll be reading, and then he'll start talking, and then he'll go back to it. So that's the only indication that I have that he can read.
yeah, and the way he always goes off topic, it's like I feel like he could read. When somebody can only like read so much, and then it just gets ahead of them. I think there's like a limit, and I think that bill has so many pages. I can't see his attention span being able to read like 2 pages of it. And
That's what I was gonna say.
isn't it like around 1,000, or it's
It's like
it's up there?
940 pages, which is like
Who
a
reads
novel.
that? And the thing is, nobody, like, they don't read everything. Like when it came out how Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't read the first part of the bill, like the first time they put it through.
Yep.
And it's like, how y'all don't read what y'all sign?
It's like one of those. It's like all the cookies, or I accept all the cookies, or I just want to
Terms
I
and
just want to get on this
conditions.
app. So yeah, yeah, yes, 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 yes. Sign.
And it's sad
It's
because it's like they're paid to represent people and they're like playing with people's lives. Like
that part.
when I saw the video of them signing the bill after they approved it, and they were playing YMCA, and they were doing Donald Trump's jerk off dance. And I was just like, how can y'all be happy celebrating knowing the effects of that? Like, and it's just crazy how you could be so happy with like destroying the lives of your constituents that put you in office.
Right, and that's the part that is the worst of it all. Is that Donald Trump, he tricked a lot of people into voting for him because he was saying a lot of the things that they were griping about. Um, he was speaking to a part of Americans that are fed up with the government and the establishment and everything that all the bureaucracy and all the red tape and all the waste and the fraud and the abuse that they feel like is happening, and border security, which, some of these things are happening and some of these things are totally valid. But Donald Trump and conservative people in general never really know how to stop. It's always an overreach. But the pendulum swings both ways, and that's what I'll say, because one side can do it, the other side, we can swing right over to the other side and have the gayest, blackest president, and he can change transition right in the White House, into a woman, into a whole other woman, and that's what they're setting things up for. I mean, I don't think we'll go there, but
But no, you're right. And that's where it's like, that's where Donald Trump was able to capitalize on his message, right? Because the Democrats went so far to the extreme left of inclusivity, no matter what, where they push so many people too far, because it's like, well, wait, you guys are doing too much. I don't like that. I don't want that. It's too much. It's too not like it's too inclusive, but there is an over extension of inclusivity where it
yes,
takes away from like the message and the point of like the masses, you know what I mean? And
absolutely.
the crazy part is that Donald Trump, when it's like every time I hear him talk about corruption and they're talking about like draining the swamp and all that shit, it's like you're the highest of the highest of the corrupt. And you've been able to just buy everybody out for like just buy people based off of the corruption. And it's like you're talking about yourself, but including everybody in it. You're
Hmm.
like bringing all these people down with you. And what kills me is like realizing how many people have a price or just care for a title. You know what I'm saying? It's like whether their opinions were bought, whether it was by donor funds or whatever. You know what I mean? If it's
Yes,
like how Marco Rubio, sold himself
right.
out just to be, what is it, chief of staff or secretary of state?
Well, now he's like all these things. Yeah,
Right, because
he got hella jobs.
and it's like it's like you to compromise, even JD Vance,
Hmm.
like to compromise everything that you once stood for a job title. And it just goes to show like how much people value, you know what I mean? It's like, do you
Yes.
value your oath to your constituents, or do you just value it to yourself and your title? And it's like, I don't know how these people are going to sleep at night 20 years from now. Like when they see the damage of their shit, it's like they won't see it now, but like 20 years from now, I really want to know how these people are going to sleep at night with what they've done.
Yeah, and I think they should probably start beefing up their security like now, because people are going to be angry, and sick people can get around, all right? Like they can figure some shit out even if they're sick. Um there's This is going to affect a lot of people, and a lot of those people are Trump supporters, and
Okay, so can I
I
ask
want
you
to feel
something?
bad. I want to feel bad for
I
these
was gonna ask you,
people.
like, do you feel bad for them, or it's like,
At the end of the day, I do feel bad for them because they were swindled. Like if you go to a carnival or something, and Trump is an excellent marketing person. He can market anything, he can sell. He's a salesman. It's the best, it's the biggest, it's the boldest, it's the most beautiful, and he just has to keep saying it, and that's what sales is. And you keep saying it and keep just choke them with it. And you know it worked on a lot of people. Plus he was saying a lot of things during his the election time that the other side was just failing. It's not just that Donald Trump was doing one thing. It's that the Democrats were also doing another thing or not doing a thing that boosted him, just common sense conversations. Don't go on the talk shows if you don't have an answer. Go talk to all the bro shows. Go talk to everybody. Don't
Joe
limit
Biden fucked
yourself.
us over too. It's
Well, that
like,
too, and I agree
if
because he did
Joe
say he would be the
Biden,
bridge.
if he would have gotten out and just didn't campaign, then everything, I think that whoever would have run, it would have been a fair run and everybody would have been able to be happy with it, right? Like, personally, and I keep saying this, if Gavin Newsom would have ran, I really feel like he would have won.
Really?
Only because everybody loves a heartthrob president, right?
Sure.
Like, Barack Obama was fine.
Yes.
Bill Clinton had that riz. You know what
He
I'm
had that.
saying?
He had it.
I really feel like Gavin Newsom would have won off like the white Prince Charming and whatever principles. You know what I mean? But
The only problem is that the Californians don't like him.
they don't. But the thing is that the way he was, when he was going back and forth with Trump, when they came to California, Californians was like, damn, I hate you, but I love you.
That's true.
And Gavin Newsom, like, I really think that the Democrats would have just rallied behind him because of popularity, right? But now, like, the Democrats and the Republicans, I think all of them really have a problem. And it's that they've all, like, kind of drifted away from their core base, right? Like, Democrats.
From the middle.
I work with the Democratic Party now. And even myself, like, with the caucus, it's like, it's hard for me because sometimes I think, like, we fucking up.
It's the messaging, I feel, that is the most stagnant thing for the Democrats. It's the messaging, because at the end of the day, like, we understand that, yes, you want a big tent, you want inclusivity, we get it, but you have to talk to people you have to meet people where they are, right? Like,
Right.
everybody's not at this place of inclusivity for all. Everybody's not there, so we can't treat people like they are, and if they aren't, you're a bad person.
Right.
We have to talk to the other side. There just has to be a dialogue, because at the end of the day, like, it's one country. We are supposed to be the United States, and that's why my personal opinion is whoever wins is the president, whoever loses is the vice president. And I've been saying this for a really long time.
Right.
Like, it needs to be a Democrat and Republican. You have to figure out how to work together. We can't do this thing where it's like you're in charge versus you're in charge. Everybody's in charge. We have to figure out how to work together. And if my vice president was the opposite party of me, obviously that seems like a nightmare scenario, but you'd have to figure it out.
And it, at least in that perspective, it adds, the other side gets a voice, right? Versus now where it's like party versus party, and even from the votes to everything, it's like it's just one extreme to the other. Exactly. And there's no middle ground for the people. And even after this, I feel like the system is so broken, and the way they're just fucking like decreasing the powers and giving this president so much more power than that was initially in the Constitution, that, like, the way they're rewriting this shit, by the time he's out, it's like you're gonna have to throw the whole Constitution away.
Right. Almost,
because
right?
And even the party system, like, the party system does not work. Like, when I hear, like, first, when you see how Mamdani just won in New York.
Right.
And how with his win, a lot of the legacy Democrats aren't endorsing him.
They freaking out.
That's a problem, because it's like, you have to look at what people are voting for, and you have to listen. Everybody is not on the side of kissing Israel's ass.
That part.
And then even what they did to Jasmine Crockett, she was up for a seat to lead the Rules Committee or the Oversight Committee.
Oh, yes.
And how she talked about how she had the least amount of votes. And basically that was her way of, like, they ice the people out that can go toe to toe with these motherfuckers. The decorum is out.
Decorum is out, and they be trying to clutch their pearls when Jasmine Crockett says a curse word or something. Be trying to be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it! Like this is you guys are the party of violence and crass talk." And it's like, just because y'all don't curse
Yeah,
doesn't
we have
mean
the
that y'all ain't
president
over here.
saying the president
Ew!
dropped the F-bomb about
Right, and it's all good though, because he got a ceasefire, I guess, kind
and
of.
that's like it's just even that whole ceasefire shit is like I get so irritated off that because it's like, did y'all start a 48-hour war just to I don't really think it's over, but it's like because
No,
to me, but I guess
Israel's never satisfied.
right. And Israel, and then plus, like, they didn't even get the nukes. Like, whatever, their whole mission failed. And so, but that's another,
That's
it's
another
another
story.
clusterfuck.
You're
But
right.
it's just crazy how just last week there's almost World War III and a ceasefire. And then this week you have like this bill shit. And it's like,
Which is really just setting it up for a civil war or something in this country, because what's gonna happen? Like, people are gonna die, and I don't even want to say that in a nonchalant, kind of way. But if people can't afford their insulin, they don't take their insulin, they die. I mean, you know what I
the
mean?
hospital closures alone,
The hospital closures. Okay, let me get
like
into this. Let's get into this.
the seniors that'll get off Medicaid. Like, it's just there's so many ripple effects. And the
Yes.
cold part is that what they did was they prolonged some of that stuff from taking effect to like
Right.
midterms and 2029. Like, they staggered
Exactly.
that shit out so much to where it's not going to be their problem because like they know they're about to get voted out. Like, all
Yeah.
these motherfuckers know their political career. Like, Donald Trump may not be ending their political career, but their constituents are. And
that's if we get to have elections, and if we get to, if we actually have free and fair elections going forward that are actually able to be counted, and we know who lost and won, because Trump is still claiming 2020 was rigged, even though he knows it isn't, and even though he says it isn't. Have to, in certain company, um it's just, at this point, everything is a troll, in my opinion. Everything is a troll. Everything is to own the other side, and nothing is really being done. Just like the initial conversation that you brought up when we had our 5150, the movement happened and they did the No Kings protest, right? No Kings protest, 50 fucking states and like 50 countries abroad. I mean, it was a beautiful sight to see. It was awesome. It was amazing. And we all came together thinking this one thought, like, we don't want a king. Fine, great. But what you said was the most prominent thing was, what's next? Where's the legislation that goes along with this marching? Now, we saw the legislation today, didn't we?
exactly. And it's like, there's what irritates me most about that is like, we don't have a fucking king. It's in the Constitution. And at the end of the day, if we're doing all these like, people love, and I think maybe it's a knowledge thing, right? Because I'm like, I remember in elementary school or like early junior high when we had to watch the documentary in class about the civil rights movement and the lawyers that were on it and how they coordinated all that shit with the protests. And somehow this generation, like, now everybody thinks it's just protest, protest, protest. And it's like, that is exactly why we are not seeing any action, because we have not taken anything to the state courts up to federal and Supreme Court when we should have. So now Heritage Foundation and all these other people are beating us to it. And that's why now all these judges and all these cases are just pushing shit through. Just like how now it's illegal to basically they're making like white discrimination a law.
Right.
And it's so crazy to see them making that, but they have strategically done what we did to get this progress. And to see people, millions of people, for like out marching for what? You know what I mean? And it's like, look at what happened. You know, like you said, look at what passed today. So it's like there's no accountability for any of these congressional officials, whether it's the Senate, whether it's the House of Representatives. They could just do whatever the fuck they want to do, and now what they want to do is whatever the fuck Trump tells them. And the Democrats, like, seeing
there was nothing we could do. There was nothing we could do. It's
oh
a
no,
dance.
but
It's a
Hakeem
song.
Jeffries can filibuster. Like, I don't give a like another performance.
Cory Booker, yeah.
And it's like, it's okay, great. You did something to break a record. The bill still got passed though. So
I know. I was sitting there. I was watching this all day because they, like every mainstream media had like a little bubble in the bottom of like showing Jeffries talking. Like you couldn't hear him, but just showing him and like how long he's been out there and all this stuff. And I was like, so as soon as he's done talking, as soon as he's done talking, the bill's gonna get passed, and that's exactly what happened. And so it was like a stall, but it's like, you're stalling for what? What's happening while you're stalling? You're supposed to be doing something over here that's creating like a long-standing stall, or I don't know what you do. Somebody needs to pass out. So like call, pull a fire alarm. Call somebody. Somebody go to the hospital. Somebody stop taking their insulin, for goodness sake. Something.
It's so crazy, and I hate feeling so helpless, like, because it's like all we can do is watch. And what I hate most too is how the Democrats want to be so goddamn official. They want to do everything by the, like, why are we playing by rules when there are no more rules? Like, there's no rules anymore. And any rule that is set is completely being used against us, against the Democrats, against the people right now. So it's like, at one point, do you start meeting them where they're at?
And that's why we have to, the legislation is important, but even more important than that is we got to vote, and we got to vote the right people in. We can't keep voting these. I don't want to say the word old, because it's not about your age.
No, it is about their age. These motherfuckers is old as hell.
Well, I'm saying we need to stop voting. We need to start voting them in young and let them get old. Like, they're already old. Like, we can't. If you're over the age of 60, we can't work with you, because this is not about you anymore. Like,
okay, did you see that video of the Black representative where he was like, they claim they're pro-life, so they want the baby to be born so he can die. No, so he could get shot when he goes to elementary school.
Yeah.
And that old white lady who is 80, I will not strike your word. Like, that's the problem. We have these old ass, like, three Democrats could not vote today because they're dead.
Right.
They died in office. And that's the problem. They will stay in office till they fucking die.
And that's the legislation that I want. Get that legislation. Term limits. Get out of here. You did your time. Limits. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for your service. Now move the fuck on. Because at the end of the day, like, there's like no Gen X. I'm a millennial. There's they just skipped over Gen X.
And that's the and I think that's the problem too. Because but I think that's also why we're seeing a shift, right? When you see Mamdani win, because he won a lot of Gen Xers. And it's like, everybody is tired of the old way of doing things. And even the fact that Donald Trump, isn't he like 80 something? Like, we have this old ass president, and he's probably going to die in office. And all of these old ass people who were living before the civil rights movement.
Right. Watched it all happen and is now trying to tear it all down.
Because they grandpapas and they grandmothers and they ancestors that were slave owners and shit, like, they, they're doing it for them. They're doing it for them, just like we do it for our ancestors. They are
their ancestors' wildest dreams, just like we are ours.
Exactly.
Right? We have to remember that it's on both sides of the coin, or you know what I'm saying? Right. So I'll just say a couple things that I saw in this bill. Initially, this is going to extend Trump's 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that was passed. So it's going to make these tax cuts permanent for these rich people, very rich people, which I don't know how that's legal. Um, and while also increasing spending for border security, defense, and energy production. Um, I'm not really sure why we're spending so much more money on border security. I mean, that's one thing that Trump fixed. So I'm not really what they were saying they want to do with that money is hire more border security and finish the wall, which again, is it a wall or is it a fence made of steel? I'm not sure it's it's as much of a wall as they'd like to say that it is. But they wanted to do like they just wanted to have more people on the border, more people dealing with people coming over illegally or legally, and that's it.
But here's the thing, right? I wonder if immigration is down only because they're too scared to cross over.
Yeah, of course. That's why when Trump got out the first time in 2020, people were literally running to the border
Right.
because they knew that by like on inauguration day, they knew that it was going to be okay and that they weren't going to be in cages. That's what happened last time. They were in cages.
Right. And even, okay, alligator Alcatraz, that shit, for when I saw the videos of inside,
Yeah.
more cages and bunk beds,
Mm-hmm.
but the way that they talk about it, like when he said, they're gonna learn how to run from alligators, it reminded me of the stories of how like slaves used to be fed to alligators when they would try to cross and run away in the swamp. And that really like hit my heart because it's like, it's no matter like, I feel like two sides to this, right? Like there was a high percentage of Latino for Trump voters. So
Yes,
a lot
there
of
was.
people voted against their own interests and their own people. And so for that, that's fucked up, right? And so on that part, that's where I don't have the overall sympathy. But when I hear these fucking stories and I see these videos and I see like what is happening to these people,
Mm-hmm.
it's so like sad. And then just hearing like the way that they're talking and joking, like how Laura Loomer had a joke that like there'll be alligator food. It's like, where's the like illegal immigrant or not? These people do not deserve to get eaten by alligators if
Yes.
they're running from a fucking concentration camp.
They've literally decided that cruelty is the point. The cruelty is the point. It's very much, I mean, that Laura Loomer person, like she has Trump's ear, and that's what's sad and scary. You know, like Trump listens to her
Stephen Miller
kind of.
too.
Stephen Miller listens to her. And yeah, I know she's like making a joke and trying to be sarcastic or whatever, but it's like the humanity is gone. Like we don't even have empathy as human beings ourselves. Like what if this was happening to me? Like what if somebody was trying to put me in a cage and not check my birth certificate or my ID and just decided that I was just illegal and ready to be fed to an animal? Like
It's crazy.
I
And
don't
what's
know how we just don't have that.
I don't it's like you said, it's cruelty. And to see people bask in the joy at the thought of the cruelty is just so like, who raised y'all?
Baffling. It's
Like
baffling.
who and what happened in life to make you just so careless? Because it's like I see these videos and I've actually shed some tears over it because it's like I'm a sucker. Like I have a lot of empathy. Like I just care, you know. And when you see it, the inhumanity of it all is just like, this is gonna be such a blemish
Mm.
in American history and in the American history books if they ever if they even choose to write about this shit.
Yes. Because I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, you know, if they get their way, they could they could rewrite history in such a way that it it floods the zone so much, like what's happening right now, that once it clears up to any degree,
Mm-hmm.
Trump will be the hero because of the way that the story gets told. You know what I mean? And
And
then he'll be
we're
hailed and
literally
he'll be like
watching
this.
it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's crazy because, you know, like we've always, like, just like how our parents' generation will be like, oh, I never knew about the Tulsa Massacre. I never knew about this. I never knew about that. And we know how they didn't know about that shit.
Now we know.
Like, now we
They weren't
know
supposed to know.
how, from when we're seeing the book banning. And it makes you think back to even when they would take over, you know, African colonies, when they would take over, you know, Egypt. We hear about how they burn the libraries. You know, what they do, they burn
It's always what they do.
the historic facts, and they, to
Education.
make sure that it's oral history and you can't prove it and that there's no proof.
Right.
And it's like, we're going to have to be the ones that write those books and tell those stories and archive those newspapers and shit like
But
that.
haven't we always?
Right.
Ain't that what we've been doing? I mean, come on. It ain't
Right.
gonna change. We're gonna be the ones. It's gonna be us. It's gonna be us.
It's always us.
It's always us. It's always been us.
us.
That's why I had to, you know, I came out on Juneteenth and made a message, and I was just like, y'all, we don't need their permission to celebrate ourselves. We ain't never asked. We ain't never going to ask. So at the end of the day, like, Black people have always, we will do what is necessary, and it will always be us, because I also want people to understand about ancestry and blood. White people come from ancestry and blood too, and their ancestry and blood is to kill, to the not all of them, obviously, but there's something, just like we have Black people in our, you know, in our culture who favor white, you know, supremacy and are okay with it, you know, and there were people like that back then too.
Right.
And so there is something innate, there is something built in to certain people,
right,
that has, it's come down the whole, just like we got trauma in our blood, and we got, you know, they have trauma in their blood too. It's just a different kind of trauma.
Right. Exactly. And you know, it's a different kind of ancestor leading them. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
I'm big on, you know, our ancestors are with us, our peoples are with us, like they're guiding us. And you can't tell me some of them slave owners ain't guiding some of they, you know, great grandkids and great great grandkids on this shit, because it's like history is definitely repeating itself.
Yeah.
And
The hatred, the hatred that was so just like rooted in some of these people's souls, you know, like,
right,
that doesn't die. That's energy.
right, right. It is. And they're just more open about it now.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they had to kind of close it down for a while, right? Like,
and that,
Jim
yeah,
Crow
exactly. For a while, you know, there was a period where you couldn't be racist.
right.
And then, you know, when people started, and that's another thing, when people started losing their jobs for racism and losing their livelihood, that's another thing that added to the more outpouring and just showing out of racism. Just like that one woman who called that kid the N-word and got over $1 million donated to her.
Right.
And it's like, when you saw she got almost $1 million, the kid's family, because they had to move, couldn't even raise like 100,000 or some shit like that. And it just goes to show you, but all these racists band together because a fellow racist was losing everything for being racist. But that just shows you how many people are actually racist.
Well, and that whole thing about, like, you know, this isn't a racist country, which is another thing Republican and conservative peoples like to throw out there, like, this isn't a racist country. It's not ingrained in the fabric. And I don't know how you say that when you know history and know what this country was built on, and even what it ran, you know, even where these people came from and where they came over here and what they were doing. Like, it was all rebellion. It was all just, it was all bad. But
right,
we've gotten to a place, like, we thought we did. We were trying to get to a place of, you know, owning our history, but not necessarily feeling like we have to relive it in order for it to
Right.
be true. It's like, unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to own, and a lot of these people on this side, conservative side, don't want to own the bad parts of how we came to be.
And not only do they not want to own it, they don't even want to hear about it.
They don't want to talk about it, hear about it, and it's
And
like if you
they
bring it
try to
up,
use
it's
the,
like,
well,
oh,
why
here
should
we go.
I feel bad for what? You want me to feel bad for being white? You want me to feel bad for knowing what they did back then? And it's like, no, if you feel bad, that means you should feel bad. You should feel a little empathy and compassion. Now do better than what they did.
Yeah.
But instead, it's like they're rebelling against it. And
Rebelling against the blame, or
now it's like, oh, no critical race theory. We're not teaching books on racism. DEI is out. Like all this shit. And it's like all because people wanted a level playing field. And
That's
in
it.
that level, see, the thing is, in that level playing field, they realized they couldn't come out on top.
Oh yeah, that's why Tulsa happened in the first place. That's why that was the first massacre. That was the first time that American troops used American bombs on American soil. That was the first time they ever did that. And then there were all those other ones, and we still learning about.
Right.
And like, I think about this all the time, Megan. Like, had that not happened, that event or all of those events, where Black people would have gotten to, where we would be now. Like,
and
we
that's
were
the crazy
just
thing, is
constantly being
because
pulled back.
the thing is that it's like they're okay with the segregation. They're okay if we're doing our own shit, as long as we don't progress past them or have more than
Progress
them.
past them.
And once we do it on our own and still progress and still move past them, then it's like a seek and destroy type thing. And it's like, let us have our lane and be successful within our ship. And that's the sad thing, is that they did that. What happened in Tulsa happened in every successful Black town.
Exactly.
And, when you look at how they're how they're putting all these migrants in these, concentration camps, and they're trying to fire all these Black people, we still ain't going back to them we still not going back on the farms.
Oh boy, like, we are not our ancestors. We love them, and we honor them, but we are not them.
They make sure we got a fucking education.
We are not them. We got guns now. Okay?
We got, and we not afraid to fucking slap y'all asses.
They ain't gonna be rolling them troops through Compton. I'll bet you money. Okay? It's not gonna happen. Like, it's not gonna happen like that.
It's not at all. And
they know
it's there. You can fire. Like, I saw a statistic today, and how the last since January, Black men and Black women have lost the most jobs every month, and it's increased monthly. And whether it's gone up to, like, 1 month it was like 61% Black men lost their jobs, another month it was like 58% Black women. Like, these are just really high statistics. And the thing is that we're very resilient and resourceful. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it's like we're going to see, I really believe we're going to have another resurgence of Black excellence. And I really feel like there's going to be another resurgence of
like a Black Renaissance.
A Black Renaissance, you know what I mean? Because it's like, you put us against the wall, we will figure it out, and I genuinely hope, like, and it could be a big hope, but I hope that as Black people, we do get more involved in community and connection. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's what our people had before. Like, they knew that they had to pull their resources together. The doctors, the merchants, the this, the that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if they do enforce segregation again, baby, I'm moving to I will gladly move to a Black town and be on the Black side.
I will too. And you know what? And I know that that's a very controversial thing. It's very controversial. But if you talk to most Black people about it, they're like, I'm not mad about it, because the thing is like my dad talks about it, because my dad was a Black Panther, like
Okay.
in like Oakland. Okay. So he was talking about how he liked segregation because it you knew where you knew where to be, you knew where not to be. And Black people had so much. We had our own record shops, we had our own coffee shops, we had our own restaurants, we had our own side of town.
Right.
Now the problem with that is the white people know where you are, so they can
Right.
just come on in there and just wreck your shit. But
Right.
he was like, at the same time, it was like this beautiful thing. You didn't see interracial couples everywhere you went, because Black men like Black women like Black men, and that's really all you had access to, was other Black people. So
Right.
you saw Black as beautiful. He's like, when segregation happened or stopped, he was like, that's when he was like, it was a planned thing, because this guy was, winning. This guy would
Mhm.
have been the president of the United States had they not shot his ass. Malcolm
Right.
X, Medgar Evers, all of them. So they saw the power building and realized that we need to let these people integrate so that we can take over. If we keep the separation, they're just going to keep growing, and we're going to have to throw them down every time, and then we're going to look like the bad people. No, infiltrate. Let it all just happen on its own, and certain Black people will rise to the occasion of whiteness, and the ones that don't will kill. And so it was a plan. I mean, it hasn't gone off completely without a hitch, but that was the initial idea.
And I think part of Black people's biggest problem is always that they wanted to assimilate and be equal to, instead of understanding, like realizing our own excellence. That's kind of like I hope I pronounce her name right, but I feel like I'm gonna say it wrong. Zora Neale Thornton, the Black author
Mm-hmm.
who wrote all the Black books. Let me make sure I get her name right, because I hate pronouncing shit wrong.
Me too.
Hold on, let me. But basically, she was Zora Neale Hurston, and
Okay.
so she wrote like classic Black books, like Their Eyes were watching God.
Oh yes. Okay.
So she was the author of that, and at the time, and I had like recently found out her story, how she was basically ousted by like the Black people of the Harlem Renaissance, like the Black authors and stuff like that, because she focused on, her stories were focused on like Blackness. Black is beautiful, Black is great. Like her thing was, we don't need to integrate. We don't need them. We don't need to assimilate to progress. Like we're good where we're at. And that's what her books were about. Versus a lot of books at the time, they wanted to promote the message of integration and like equality and all that shit. And so she never got to really like progress in her career as an author living, because she eventually got like blacklisted, and her being like ousted of that group. And it just reminds me so much, especially being in corporate America sometimes, how you come across those people where it's like they're the Black people that they're not down because they want to assimilate. And if you don't embody that image of assimilation that they had to do, to get ahead of their career, it's a clash. And it makes me think of like, Byron Daniels and Tim Scott, like all these Black Republicans, where it's like, I believe you could be a Black Republican, right?
Sure.
I believe you could be a Black conservative. Like,
yeah.
Before I would say I was like kind of when there was a middle. I had, I have the Democratic policies that I followed, but there were some Republican policies where I was like, you know what, let me hear them out. Like,
of course.
That's
how it should be.
But when you see Black Republicans now, they just remind me of like, they just pro assimilation. And as Black people, we need to learn that we don't have to assimilate. And sometimes there's like, you feel like you have to, whether it's corporate, and now, especially with all this other shit going on, it's like, nah, I'm like, stand in your Blackness, like stand in that shit, because it's like, there's no need to really assimilate at this time. Like
At this time.
It's gonna come a point where if there was a civil war, right?
Mhm,
You know, because
mhm,
you mentioned that. If there was,
mhm.
you may have to pick a side. Because
Mm,
please believe that there is, it's like poor white people still do not see poor Black people or poor minorities as their equal in the same fight. They see them as their enemy and they're all in their own group. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And I
Mhm.
think that's where that civil war is going to come in. It's like there's going to be probably a want to grab the homeowners, you know, the Black and Latinos who are homeowners and shit like that, or grab their resources. And it's like, now we're gonna have to band together, most likely, because in that civil war, even if it's rich versus poor, it's still gonna be Black versus white.
Yeah. And yeah, because the white people will do the same thing. I mean, they will pull in their people, you know. And yeah, you're absolutely right. And the truth is that even at the end of the life of Martin Luther King, he stopped believing in it. He was like, maybe not, you
They
know.
don't, but they don't tell you that.
But they
They
don't
don't
tell
talk
you
about that.
that.
They don't talk about that. And they don't talk, and it's like, but they so quick to quote them though. That's what be killing me. Like they are
Right.
so,
Y'all shot him too.
they will
Why are you
quote that
quoting him?
man. And it's like y'all will quote that man and do everything that is opposite of what he was preaching about. And it just,
Just like Jesus.
it's the hypocrisy of it all.
Yes. Speaking of the hypocrisy, let me sell another part of this bill is that okay, so this is going to add $3.4 trillion to the federal deficit over the next 10 years. So, which is a big thing, you know, the conservatives are all about the deficit and the debt and you know, we haven't had a balanced budget in this country since Bill Clinton. So, knowing that, the bill how they're going to pay for this that $3.4 trillion is by making significant cuts to healthcare, nutrition programs like Medicaid and SNAP. Now, this is the biggest thing. I think that Democrats were trying to scream into the ether was that all these people are going to lose their health care. There's a lot of people on Medicaid um, and SNAP. A lot of them need to be on it. I agree that there are a lot of people who are able-bodied who should be working or should be volunteering or whatever um, that are maybe taking advantage. But I feel like that is a very minute percent because I was on Medicaid and working at the same time after COVID, and I was not making enough money
How many jobs
to
will not pay you the insurance?
well, right. Most jobs. And that's what I thought the caveat was going to be. I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to take all this healthcare away from people who are working and are on Medicaid, then you're going to force these corporations to provide insurance, right? No.
And they're not
That's
going
the
to, if you
opposite.
give them the choice and you give them the stipulations, they are going to fall under. If you got to give people 30 hours, they're going to give them 29.
And that's exactly what it is.
If you
That's
got to
exactly
hit,
what
if
it
you got
is.
to hit people at, if they got to make 30,000, they're going to give them 29,000. Like that's just what they do. And at the end of the day, like the employer, they can only afford what they can afford. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I'm an accountant, so I do numbers for a living. So I understand these employer decisions when they're like, even when, you know, they're raising, prime example, how by 2028, they're raising like the minimum wage for people in like the hotel and accommodations industry in California to like 28
Oh,
or
yeah.
$30. And California, like I'm from LA.
Hmm.
So when I go back and forth, like I can't always stay with family or somebody. So sometimes I gotta get a hotel. I hate having to book a hotel already because it is so overpriced to
Yeah.
book a hotel
And in
in LA.
California, in
And I'm not even
LA,
talking about the nice ones. I'm talking
I
about
was going to say,
give me an inn, give me a sweet little
but even
thing,
those
and
look
like,
gross for your money. You're still in some trash place in LA unless you're in like a really nice place, it's gonna be pretty bad.
and when they add that minimum wage, like they're gonna have to fire people,
Right.
and they're gonna have to fire people, and they're gonna have to raise the
Raise the
rates.
price. Yep.
And a lot of times, like most companies, they can only pay what they can. Like, and now I'm not talking about the large corporations. Like every large corporation, like they can afford to pay people what they're worth. Like I'm not talking about that. But when they pass these laws, it's the small businesses that kind of suffer, because a small business like can't afford that insurance cost. A small business can't necessarily afford giving these people these raises. And yeah, people should be able to earn a living wage. However, the cost of living should not be this fucking high. Because if the cost of living weren't so high, then more people would have more money to spend, and employers could afford to give their employees the living wage and give their employees insurance and stuff like that. But this, like those laws, I see how employers and small business owners have to make that choice.
Right. And you end up having to fire people, or you end up going bankrupt. I mean, because otherwise, I mean, most people create a business because they want to, well, yes, help people, but they also want to produce a profit and not have to, work for a big corporation or whatever. So,
isn't that the American dream?
That's supposed to be the American dream. And we were all living it pretty well before COVID. And then COVID created a whole other like level of entrepreneurship. And it's like, it's gone through the freaking roof. And now they want to take it all away. It's really sad, because this is a capitalist country, and we have to, they want us to have to deal with them. Like we have to use Amazon. If there can't be no other Amazons out here. They closed the mall, they closed this, so you got to use Amazon. It's like it's all built by design to do that.
Right. And then even like how the whole Jeff Bezos wedding this week, right? And you see like all of the riches of the richest people of the richest are at the wedding. Yep. And when you look at like what's going on in the country right now, and it's like we're really in a time of like the haves and the have-nots. Truly. And they just made it so the haves and the have-not divide can be so much bigger. And then on top of that, it's like they want people poor and sick.
Yep, that's it.
Poor, sick, and hungry. Like
Les Mis. Yeah.
Seriously. And it's like people are going to, and I hate like, because when I be saying shit, I be feeling like, oh my God, I really sound like a conspiracy theorist.
No, I know.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, that's how it feels now. It's like it's like, okay, so then when everybody goes crazy, because remember after COVID, when we saw all them fights at the, people was fighting everywhere. They was fighting at the airport, fighting at the grocery stores. Like people were just fighting everywhere. And it makes you think like, especially with all these laws and how they're like really, policing the like allowing the police to have like the military to have police rights in the states and in the cities. Mm-hmm. It's like, is this what they were talking about when they were talking about they was going to, do all this to enforce martial law and shit like that? Like, because they're creating the bubble that is going to burst. Like when people actually do lose their SNAP benefits, when they lose, like my mom's a retired senior.
Right.
She receives these benefits because she's a retired senior. Mm-hmm. So it's like, is it because she's not disabled? Does that mean she would have to go? Like when they say like able-bodied, able this, it's like, okay, how are you guys determining this?
Right. And it's really, whenever I hear them talking about it, it's like, oh, these gaming bros that are living on their grandma's couch in the basement. And it's like, what percentage of people is that? That's got to be like a 0.00 something number of people that are those people. And those people exist, and that's fair. I think the biggest thing for me is just the verification of it all. Like you just said, how are you going to figure this out? Once upon a time, I feel like they would, not that this would work these days because everybody has a gun, but I just feel like you used to go to somebody's house, you used to verify some shit. Make a
Right.
phone call, a video call, like, hey, we need to make sure that what you're saying is true, that you actually are disabled, that you actually, like,
But
they used to
here's the
catch
thing, when
people.
you think of how they just had this huge Medicaid fraud, the fraudsters were the fucking doctors.
No,
The people that fraud the system are the healthcare
are
facilities
the,
and the
yes.
doctors. Like, how many doctors just push unnecessary pills and run unnecessary tests so they could bill, Medicaid for it? That's not on the people, that's on the doctor.
Right.
And truth be told, Medicaid insurance sucks.
Yeah, it's not even that great.
Like, I've been on Medicaid because I could not get any insurance. I know how it feels when, like, your job is not providing insurance and you have to hope and pray you don't get fucking sick. Like, I
Right.
remember feeling like that. And I remember even just like a couple years ago, before I was able to really like get insurance with my job now, thank God I work for a Canadian company. So
Mm,
like what they offer for coverage is way better than I would get with any United States company. You know what I'm saying? But
yes.
I know how it feels to have the lowest of the lowest of the lowest coverage and hope and pray nothing fucking happens to you
Mm-hmm. Yep.
because you don't want to have to pay out of pocket for urgent care or for
Right.
this medication or for that. Like, Medicaid covers the bare minimum and it only
Mm-hmm.
covers enough to stop you from dying. And the bill, the bill for what they don't cover, like, you're
It's
gonna
bad.
want to die. You're gonna die of stress when you have that shit on
Well,
your
right.
face.
And that's the other thing, right? Like, the stress might kill you. Something's gonna kill you. So at the end of the day, like, it'll work out for them, because the more people that die, that's why I feel like what happened with COVID. Like, I feel like they were okay with people dying. Like, yeah, take your mask off. It's all good. Like, not that the mask was really protecting anybody, but but do you have to get the shot? I don't think you have to get the shot. And just all of the conspiracies back and forth, I think that killed a lot of people.
And the thing is that, and to piggyback off of that, it's like, I miss when we had a government that cared about their people. Like, there's so many that do not care about the people. I mean, looking at them dance today is like,
It's just numbers. It's just numbers to them. It's just like people on a chessboard, or it's just,
but just
I don't
like how
know.
that one lady was like, well, we all die. It's like,
Right,
yeah, bitch,
exactly.
yeah, we do, but there's a way to stop it. Like, we
But
could
yeah, but can
prolong
we
it.
live while we're alive? My God. Can we have a good time here? Or does it just have to be oppression, oppression, oppression until you die? I mean, nobody wants to live like that. And the problem is that these people don't even have to live like that, never have had to live like that. So they really have no basis in comparison of, like, oh, I used to have to live on food stamps, and now I'm in the Congress. Now I'm in the United States Congress. Like, I rose to something because I understand what it comes like, what it feels like to go from nothing. All those people, what I realized, those people are bred. They're bred for Congress. They're bred for the presidency. Like, it's all bred from the
Right.
beginning. It's like from like middle school, high school, college, like everything is like built to like push you in that direction. That's why you have these people who sound like robots, who like Kamala Harris, like Pete
Right.
Buttigieg, like Joe Biden, like they sound like robots. They all sound like the same thing, and we're here to, and it's
Right.
like, and that's why Donald Trump won, because of the authenticity of him. Even though he's a fucking idiot, he's
Okay,
authentic.
so there's a documentary, because you know how Roger Stone was Donald Trump's first campaign manager, right?
Mhm.
There's a Netflix documentary called Get Him Roger Stone or some shit like that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
about how Roger Stone guided Trump on his road to the presidency. Trump had been trained for 20 years.
Boom, and yes,
And it was
exactly.
like 20 years of, and in those 20 years of building him up to be this brand and this person, to where he came down that escalator in 2015. I just think with Trump, he just realized how much power he had. And no one man should have all that power. And like, every time I see him, I hear Kanye West songs.
Damn,
And
as soon as you said it, I heard it.
because it's, and I just look, even girl, when he was at the G7, no, NATO,
Mm-hmm.
and they called him fucking
Daddy. Because I called him
daddy.
daddy.
Grown ass men calling another grown ass, like, is he fucking you?
Sometimes I wonder. I don't know.
They be doing some, and they be doing some freaky shit too.
Because
Like,
he's on the Epstein list. We all know. And that's what a lot of this is like distraction from that. Because Elon knows. We all know. But nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about the fact that this Democratic congressperson was murdered in her bed, like murdered in her home. Like people should be outraged. I don't even know if Hakeem Jeffries even brought that up. I don't even know.
They literally it was like a 1 week news cycle. And
yeah, we're not even talking about that anymore.
And it's like the assassination of an elected Congress and the attempted assassination of another one. And it's like, that's you should not be getting murdered for being a lawmaker.
Right.
Like, you should not be on this goddamn kill list.
But if it had been the other way around, because that guy was he was very MAGA, and they don't want to talk about it, nobody brings it up. But if it had been the other way around and it had been some crazy liberal out there
we would still
that murdered
talking
somebody,
about it.
They would be crying, screaming, all of that for the next 4 years and would end up winning presidency again. They'd be using it 4 years from now.
And it makes me think, like, even when you see like how all of these ICE agents are masked up, right? Like, those like, you can't tell me those are all ICE agents. You can't tell me some of them people
can't tell nothing.
I know some of those people are January 6ers. I know some of those people have got to be Proud Boys, all these Aryans and like extreme groups, because when the Heritage Foundation, like when they first released Project 2025 on their, because I went on their website, right? Because you know how they were saying we want to hire Trump loyalists. They had that application to submit right on their website when you would go on it. Wow. And I was like, oh, they've been recruiting. So it's just, when it comes to how these people are so covered and the mask and shit like that, like, I know that they have just shit mixed in, because I think it's like they're so brutal even when they're picking these people up. I saw this one video today of this guy who was like running from agents, and they literally picked him up. They handcuffed him, picked him up by his elbows and his feet, and just threw him in the truck. And he's crying and screaming out. And it's like, what the fuck is happening? Like, now I'm not laughing at it, but I'm just laughing. No. It's like insane that this shit is like being allowed to happen right now. Being normalized. Yeah. And all you could do is like just watch. Like, people are just recording videos just to help their family find them or identify them. And that's the scariest part, is that, this is being normalized and we're being desensitized to it. And they said, I don't know if they said it I think it was last week, they said they were gonna start trying to denaturalize or the birthright citizenship or some shit like with the birthright. Yeah, for the Haitians. Oh, like, right. They got rid of their status. Which means they're coming for the Black people. Because if they're just pulling people that just look Hispanic, like, they have quotas, and they're just grabbing anybody. If you look Hispanic, if you speak Spanish. So it's like, they're gonna, if they did that for they did that for Haitians, they're coming after African Americans. And then when you think of how Trump keeps saying he wants to deport repeated criminals, you can't tell me that's not gonna trickle into gangs, Black gang members, drugs, and to Black inner city, like the minority drug, the real people in the hood that's dealing drugs and gang members. Like, you can't tell me they're gonna start going after them next. Because I remember gang injunctions in LA. Mm-hmm. When they was just pulling people where if you were next to somebody in a gang just because, and y'all grew up in the same area, everybody's getting rounded up and going to jail. Like, California had to like pay out a big settlement because of those gang injunctions. And it's like, they're just going to start doing that again.
Yeah, and he's gonna try to use, martial law at some point, I'm sure, to that's the thing that he could do to keep us from having elections. Like that's what's happening in Israel. It's not martial law, but it's like as long as we're at war, just like our
Right.
country, we can't have elections. And Netanyahu's supposed to be in jail. He's got a whole trial just waiting for him, and they keep, oh well, we're at war. Oh well, we gotta fire this missile off. And now he got Trump advocating for him in America.
The problem is what kills me is all these people that will not go against Netanyahu and Israel at all. And it's like, even on the Democrats, at what point do you stop kissing Israel's ass?
I don't know.
Like, I don't, and that's
It's
what
AIPAC.
kills me about the political system. Like, even when, for the New York, when they all had the debate for the mayor candidates, they had the debate. And Mamdani was the only one that said he's going to stay in New York and not go visit Israel. And then Hakeem Jeffries was like, oh, I can't endorse him until I know where he stands on Israel. Why the fuck do y'all care so much about Israel that is committing a genocide? Like, the fact that we're actively watching and helping them commit a genocide, and disgusting, to see our elected officials still standing by them because they don't want to lose their Jewish donors or whatever. It's so, throw the whole fucking political system away.
Throw it away. I think what I've come to understand about Israel is that it is America's in with the Middle East in terms of like understanding what's going on over there, what's going on in the region, who's building bombs, who's not, who, you know what I mean? Like that's what it started out as. I mean, obviously it started out as, okay, we're here to protect you. Here's an Iron Dome. Like, even though we don't have like, how are you giving out protection but don't create one for yours anyway? And the intel, AIPAC, and the Israeli intel from AIPAC is basically like, I don't know, it's like gold or something. I mean, obviously the donor thing is a real thing too.
Right.
And
because that's how
it all kind of trickles down. It's like get every somebody said this. It was a congressperson on last night. He was saying when you are elected to office in Congress, you are like assigned an AIPAC representative that is American, but all their interests are for Israel. And so that person takes you out to dinner. They fund you going over there, which fund meaning what? Like American, like we pay for it. Okay. And so there's it's like a whole, I don't even want to call it a game because it's not. I mean, it's just a really well set up like dance system that they've managed with Israel. And it's like they give us intel. The intel they gave us, weapons of mass destruction, was Israeli intel.
Oh wow.
That was Israeli intel. And we went into Iraq and Afghanistan off of that intel.
And still never found the weapons of mass destruction.
Because they didn't exist. Israel is unfortunately like they are the defensive monster now. It's like they want to, it's like they're Russia. It's like they want their land back. They want something back that they feel was stolen from them.
That technically they stole. Like,
yeah.
This whole timeline in history is just, it's crazy to like be living through it. Like, right. Even I don't know. I feel like shit we've learned in the history books, and maybe at the times, I know it was like civil rights movement, Vietnam War, so there was a lot going on at that time. Then it was like the feminist movement, but like this shit to me, I just feel like it's too much. It's so much, and probably too because we have so much access to everything.
That's what it is.
You know what I mean? And we're getting like real live updates and just seeing it all, and just every single day, at least 3 times a day, there's this big ass intense thing that happens. Then it's another thing. then another thing, and then
Meanwhile, the planes are going down.
And then there's this other war, and then this happens, and then that, and then you see this press. It's just it's just news overload. And it just begins to feel like I genuinely have like the only hope I have is like faith in God. That no matter what, I'm gonna be okay. Because and my family's gonna be, because there's so much uncertainty with everything going on that, and everything just feels so extreme, and it's such like an extreme change for our future.
Yeah.
That it's like all we could do is hope if and when we do get another election, that same president, hopefully a Democrat, goes in and just the same thing Donald Trump did and just writes an executive order that cancels all Donald Trump's executive orders.
That's the point of what they were trying to tell him, is like, you're just running by executive order, and now the Supreme Court let him do it. But it's like, executive orders can be reversed, bro. Like, you're supposed to create laws. He knows that he's not going to get laws passed for the things that he wants. So that's why he's doing executive order. But it's like, bro, keep doing it. I just keep saying, I'm like, keep doing it, because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, somebody else gets in there. They can just reverse it and reverse and reverse. And that's unfortunately what's going to end up happening. And he probably knows this too. The next person is going to spend the first 4 years of their presidency reversing everything that he did, trying to correct everything. And you're not going to be able to. I mean, it's so entangled in 6 months with Doge and the tariffs and just everything that's he's trying to do. It's all so far ingratiated in the presidency now that I don't even know what the next person's going to be able to do. They might not be able to do anything, because it's also what's happening is a lot of this stuff is going to end, not a lot of it, but some of this stuff is going to end in 2028 so that they can run on it again. Like the no tax on tips, that ends in 2028, meaning the Republicans can then run on, we can renew this, we can do it again if you liked it. Like, come on, vote for me.
I hope by 2028 people are so fucking fed up with Republicans and all the damage for everything else. Like, the thing is, I think everybody needs to revamp their message. Like, and I hate it because like when Elon Musk was like, I'll fund a new a new political party. And it's like, we need a new political party, but we don't need Elon Musk funding. But not run by you, bro. Right now. Right. Like, don't take his fucking money. Like, you cannot, like, I feel like he's he's the fucking mark of the beast. When they talk about the one that like brings in the fucking Antichrist, like if he's not the Antichrist, he's the one that ushers it in, because he's the richest man in the world and just dabbles in everything. And it's just like, don't let him fund the new party, because you're just gonna be his bitch then. But we're gonna have to, like, we need new parties. The 2-party system does not work. And the problem is,
like I said, the only way it's gonna work is Democrat, Republican, one ticket. That's the only way I feel like it'll work from this point.
Right. But the sad thing is that I feel like they're too far gone. Like, I feel like, I mean, it's never gonna happen. Are too far gone in their base. You know what I mean? Like, there's like a lot of the Democrats are too extremely left. They're too old. They're too soft. They're not, like, they can't, like, I feel like AOC, Jasmine Crockett, the 2 Justins from Tennessee, like, there's like a small group of people who I feel could lead a new party. Yeah. And even now, Republicans, they're just fucking the Trump party. But that gives room for, you know, the same Republicans that were campaigning for Kamala Harris that were old Republicans, that gives them room to start a completely new party. And if we really had like a 4-part where you have the extreme Democratic left, like old Democrats, new Democrats, Republicans, Trumpers, MAGA, put that shit on the ticket. I think people are so pissed off enough with the old that I really think there could be room for new. But the problem is there's like that large group of people that just don't want the change. And hopefully shit gets so bad, people just say fuck it and do make these changes, because it doesn't work anymore. Like nothing they're doing, they're not even following the Constitution.
Right.
Nothing they're doing works.
I
And
think I think we're getting there. I don't know how long it's gonna take though, because some of these people are just they're dug in, they're self-righteous. But honestly, like the MAGA wing of everything it's big, but it's not big enough to overtake everybody out. People in the middle and the
right,
left. Like if you take the MAGA part out of it, they are the minority.
right.
But they just have the power right now. Because at this
Exactly. And the thing is, they only have the power because Trump is threatening to unseat them and primary
right.
them. But it's
Right, they
like
really don't have power. You're right.
if enough people actually run as that new option, you know, if the Democrats had a new option that did not fucking be ran by Bernie Sanders, I
It's just
cannot
too
say
old.
I hate Bernie Sanders.
Really?
Like,
Wow.
I'm not. I'm because he's old, angry, and he was too misogynistic. He does
Mm.
like when it comes to like women and women of color, just the way he would act towards them and stuff like that, I didn't like. And
Oh.
Bernie Sanders, like from when he was like even going against Hillary Clinton in some of those like debates and shit like that, and just the way I never liked Bernie Sanders, and I hated how he did the Democratic Party because
Oh.
he was never a Democrat. You
Right.
went on the Democratic ticket. Then you got mad when the Democrats didn't go by you. When everybody knows how the Democratic Party is, they've always been cliquish. It's always been you have to go this way, and we're gonna pick our people. And when we pick our people, that's who we're gonna give the donor money to. He knew he wasn't gonna win, but it's like he thought he could blow up the Democratic Party, and all he did was ruin it for Hillary Clinton when he threw that
Yeah.
hissy fit.
Yeah, because he took some of her votes too.
He took a lot of her votes because he didn't drop, and then he kept protesting it. Like he was trying to
Yeah,
do
he was.
the contesting at the Democratic National Convention because that I remember it was because the email got leaked that they were never gonna go for him. You knew that. You were independent the whole time. I really think like, and again, maybe it's because I've said from especially when you see now how people voted for Trump because he was like that other option against, you know, he went against the grain.
Right.
Bernie Sanders, I really believe he could have won if he wouldn't have.
Oh yeah.
If he wouldn't have tried to join the Democrats, I think he would have had a fighting chance.
He got I guess the way the Democrats tell the story, I guess now, or the way the independents tell the story about the Democrats is that Bernie was leading and the party wanted Hillary.
Exactly.
And so he like stepped down in order for her to like soar. And then that's why he was salty and was
He
like,
was
oh,
salty
well, then
as
I'll run
fuck.
independent against you.
He was salty as fuck. And then it's like, you could, like, he was so, and you knew it was going to be like that. And that's the thing. It's like, you can't, that's what kills me about like some people in politics, right? It's because you know how the game is. Like when you're in it, you know, like for me, like, cause I did, when I first got into accounting, I ended up doing political campaign accounting. So when I saw how the money works and how the donors work, I was like, damn, it's sad because people that really do want to get in politics to change, they don't get the donors. They're not in the clique. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so Bernie, like, he's been in politics long enough to where he knew. And instead of like, it's like, why blow it? If you want to blow the system up, play the game a different way to blow it up so you could win. Like, and that's what kills me is that it's a dirty game.
Yeah.
But play it to your benefit. You know, just like in corporate America. Corporate America is the biggest fucking game there is. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't always have to play dirty, but you still got to play that shit to get ahead.
And that's what I think. I think the perfect candidate is somebody who's going to come in and say, okay, Trump was right about some things. And I'm going to tell you what he was right about. And then I'm going to tell you how he was wrong in the way that he handled it and did it and how I'm going to do it the right way. Yes, there are certain things that because you can't get rid of the Trumpism. Like we want to, right. Like we wish. But everything he says isn't the worst. 90% of it is, but there's pieces in
It's
there.
like the foundation of it is where, you know, because it's the working class that has suffered the most. But the thing that Trump leaves out is that he caused all these problems.
Exactly. And so he can speak to the problems because he caused them, right? Like he knows how to spin something to his strength, like you're
That
saying. And
motherfucker
so
be twirling the fuck out of it, and he'll
you
just
have to be able to do that, and you can't be scared either. You can't be out here
right.
scared to say the truth and to be like, no, that's a lie. This is the truth, and this is how I know, and I can prove it. But even bigger than that, like you can't be scared to hurt somebody's feelings, or oh my god, I said she instead of them, and all. Like we can't do that. We can't do that. Like we
Because
can have
what
another
Trump,
conversation
and this
about
is one
that,
thing I
but
hate about Trump, is that he's given space for people to be fucking mean.
mean and dumb.
Just mean and like low down, and but it's like, again, you got to meet people where they're at, and it's like it's okay to be vulgar. Like, we are not, I miss the days when Congress had some class, but shit, they ain't got it no more.
No,
get in there with them. Say
they
what
be
you
over
gotta
there
say
in
and say it
London
right.
in their
You know what I
Congress.
mean?
They be cussing each other out in London. Okay, in their Congress
Right.
in the UK,
In
they be going
Japan, they
off.
will fight on that floor.
And that's how I think we need to be. We need to be much more candid. Like trying to be all proper and prim and stuff. It's like, nah, I'm gonna go off on you. And that's the other thing I hate about Congress is like they have to like do these speeches, and like nobody's listening. It's not a real debate. It's like it needs to be a debate where we are actually on the floor, like when there's a presidential debate. You talk, I talk, we go against each other, because it's like being in Congress is just about like writing speeches, and that's what I
That's how
resent,
it
because I'm
seems.
like, what the fuck is this?
That's how it seems. That's all they do is go on that floor, reclaim their time, and say what they
Reclaim their
gotta
time.
say, and ain't shit happening, but it's just for the record. And
It's
even,
performative.
I swear, I can't stand that Doge committee that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a part of, because she be banging that guy. Like, there is no decorum. She would, come to order, attention to order. And it's like, there's no, like, they literally will ignore the rules and say it right then and there. And they're like, I'm the head of this committee. I can do what I want. Are you the head? Oh, okay. And it's like, and the Democrat, I'd be like, y'all some punks.
They're punks, man. Punk bitches. Like, just say.
Like, y'all be getting bitched around and be trying to
I'm
be
telling
like,
you, I would be
point of
going off on
order.
motherfuckers.
And
That's why I love
annoying.
Jasmine, and I root for her, because even AOC, like, she's strong, but she's not like tough. I don't know what it is. There's a strength there and there's fire, but it's like you ain't scary though. Like,
right.
I need
No, but
somebody
I
that's
love
about to
when
make somebody
AOC
quiver.
stood up that time with the whole lashes thing against Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Right.
When she tried it, she was like, baby girl.
She
baby.
tried it. But that's a perfect example of like, okay, babe, like this isn't no. Like she's just not, she doesn't have like the, I don't know, the soul.
But
I
I
don't know
think
what it is.
that's where like a AOC and a Jasmine Crockett have that balance. You know
Yeah,
what I
the
mean?
balance of
It's
that.
like, and that it's like the AOCs, the Jasmine Crockett's. I wish I could remember who was the guy that made that comment yesterday about the kids grow and they'll get shot in school, because it's like that's the energy we need. People that are just gonna like call them out on their shit, meet them where they're at, but still get shit done. It's like, what I hate about the Democrats is when they're in power, they still try to be on some decorum shit, versus when Republicans are in power, they just pass it. They don't give a damn.
Don't give a damn.
And they don't give a damn
said
about the message. They don't like, they will use the propaganda in their favor. And not only will they do that, they don't care. They will pass whatever they need to pass, and they're just gonna do it. Versus Democrats who be trying to, they're always by the playbook, and they always care about the news cycle and the impression of them. Versus Republicans don't give a fuck. And I'm like, be like them.
Yeah, we need to take on that energy. You're right. Like I said, somebody needs to come in with like Trump energy, but with like Barack Obama swag and intellect. Like that's what we need. Gavin Newsom, I wish he was better liked because
Right.
he probably could win and he's gonna try. Like he's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
try.
next run he's
Okay.
about to try.
He's definitely gonna try, and I'm gonna be interested in what he says. The problem with Gavin also is that he kind of flip flops and he'll kind of like go
Right.
wherever people are like we don't like that. Like he'll kind of go away from it. So it's hard to know what he really truly believes and where he
Right.
actually stands on issues, or if, are you just saying this to win? So I
Right.
think that's where we are. But I did read your survey, and you expressed some interest in running for local office. Yes.
You know, I've considered that. I'm considering that right now. Just in general, like, I don't know. I think that they need more people like me and you as representatives, you know, in the thick of it. Because, and again, I feel like, you know, I want to, it sounds so corny, but I kind of want to be the change I want to see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't want to just like talk about it. I want to get in it,
Be
which is
about it.
why I did join the state women's caucus, because I was like, let me start being more involved in some way just to really understand like how this shit works and how to actually be involved in politics. Because again, it's like we be saying we don't want to get involved in politics, and no, that's
Right.
a problem. We need to be
We
involved in
need
it.
to be,
We
because
need
politics will
people like
politic.
us that are, you know, that grew up struggling middle class, that grew up, you know, like how your dad was a Black Panther, my aunt was a Black Panther, you know,
Wow.
like my mom was like protesting during the civil rights movement. And so having that, having people that have that background and that upbringing, and that like we're real people, we've had to go through like real shit, and we need more of that
That's what I'm saying.
in politics. And so because of that, and I love it, like I have a genuine love for it. um and I think that the more they try to push people like us in the background, you know, like how they're doing, like if there were more Jasmine Crockett's within the legislature, you know, like she would have more leverage. If
Right.
there
Sure.
were, you know, and so with that, it's like I've thought about what a political career would look like without being like someone who was groomed for it their whole life.
Yes. Because that's what I'm saying. Like these people are groomed. They're like set up for it, and that's how they move the whole time. It's like, oh, I can't color outside of the line of what I was
Right.
taught and trained to do. Otherwise, my donors or my, the money's going to fall short. And that's what it really is about. It's about the grassroots. It's about small donations from normal people like you and me. Because I've
Yep.
considered it as well. I always have this hard back and forth of like, do I stay here and like you said, be the change I want to see, or do I just live my life and watch it all burn to the ground? Because I don't know if I feel like America is worth it for sure, but I don't know if the battle
Right.
itself, is worth it because of everything that will have to be sacrificed, everything that will have to be, the way people, I mean, the way we live, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
I don't want things to change, but
Because it's like, and the thing is, the only, like, even how I've gone about my accounting career,
mhm.
I've made sure that I have not lived my life to fill the accountant mold. I'm not
Mm.
your average accountant. You can tell by my sleeves,
I wouldn't say so. Right.
like I'm not. You can tell by my nails. Like I never, my goal was never to like assimilate to that role or that image. And I feel like if I did take on a political career, I'd have that same like perspective. Like I'm not in this to fit your mold. I'm in this to make that change. But the criticism, the ridicule, when you see now like lawmakers are dying, it's like putting your life on the line. Not to mention the racism. You know, it's like
Mhm.
everything that comes with it. It's like, damn, is
Damn.
is it gonna be worth it? But
That's what I'm
you
talking
know,
about.
and so it's something that I think about. There is like a place like with the state emerge where they like train you and train you on the process of like becoming. So I've thought about going through the
Oh, really?
process just to learn, because it's like, if I do or if I don't, I still want to know how this shit works. You know what I mean? And I've had such a love for it that people have always said, like, dang, you should run for something. I'd be like, I know, right? Maybe I should. But it's
I know
like,
people say that to me too, and I'm like,
because the thing is that I think that, sometimes we see the people who have been built for this their whole lives, and we think like that's like we wouldn't win or couldn't get in, and if we did get in, we wouldn't be accepted.
yeah,
And it's knowing like, okay, I may never be accepted by y'all, but if the grassroots people feel me, if I'm a visual representation of my community, and if I could do that, then that's really all that matters, because it's like, fuck the clique, I'm here to represent
yeah,
my
fuck the clip.
constituents. And I think that, the Democrats have a problem. And when you see Mamdani that won, that tells you the shift is happening. And people are so fucking fed up with the old way of doing things. And so I think it's time for people like me and you, where we want to see change, because it's going to be more people coming. Like, just like the way we feel empowered, there's a lot of stupid people that see fucking Donald Trump, and because Donald
Right,
Trump is an idiot. Like,
right.
a lot of these Republicans are idiots. Like, some of them are educated, right? But there are a lot of people that are fucking stupid, that are
Yes.
making these decisions. And like a Lauren Boebert, you hear it in how
Mm.
she talks, like,
Hey,
and
oh my God.
it's like, you don't have to be smart anymore.
No, you
You
don't.
don't have to know what you're talking about anymore. You don't have, like, those rules do not apply for the fucking Republican side.
And
So
so we can take advantage of that.
if they
We
have
we, we
lowered the
should.
bar, that if the bar is that low, it's like we might as well just jump on in.
And that's the whole point, people. That good trouble, is the point. We, I got that name from John Lewis. That's what he was a US congressman that was very much about like getting in good trouble, like doing what, just get caught trying, like get
Right.
caught trying to make something happen for the betterment of your city, your state, your neighborhood, your community, your country, whatever it is, and run with it. Keep
Mm-hmm.
going, keep fighting, because at the end of the day, ain't nobody coming here to rescue you, boo. Maybe there's somebody to come and rescue some of you snowflakes out here, but it's at the end of the day, Harriet Tubman is the person that got us here. And so
Right.
we have to do it for her. We have to honor those that came before us, that were trying, that got caught trying, okay? And made some shit happen, made strides in this country. They ain't never gonna stop coming for us. And so we have to do as we've always done, which is take the little shit that they give us and turn it into gold, and look good while we doing it.
Because that's one thing we're going to do.
And we gonna crip walk while we doing it, okay? So
Hey.
at the end of the day, I thank you, Megan. I really appreciate you. You have such a voice. I totally agree with these people. You should make your voice heard always. You're so smart and you're so with it, and
Thank
you're
you.
like in it, and I so appreciate that, because our people
You
need
as well,
this.
girl. You as
Thank you.
well.
Thank you.
You
I
as
appreciate
well.
it.
It's like sometimes it just starts with using our voice and our knowledge and our insight from our family, and just sharing that, because it's like what you're doing, like having this podcast, especially the Good Trouble podcast, it's like it's honoring what was done before us, and it's like it's just bringing it back out in a new way. And it's so important that you've created this platform for us to like really talk and get the message out, because especially with the war on Black media right now, it's like,
Mm,
if just like back then and during slavery times, when they was like writing and reading when they shouldn't have,
right.
like, we're speaking on something where Donald Trump
It's
and them
kind of
are like
dangerous.
prosecuting people for this shit. Like, slowly but surely they're gonna start going after people like me and you. And
Yep.
they're going after the media and all that shit. So, you know, it's important that even if it's just using our voice for our shows, like if that's the good trouble, like speaking on this shit right now, that's
that
that
is the
good
good
trouble. And who would have thought we'd get to a point where just speaking
Yeah.
could put us at risk.
And that's not the country I want to live in. That ain't the country I was born in. That ain't the country I'm trying to see continue. So all of y'all, whatever good trouble you can find yourself, and I do mean good trouble, okay? We are not out here breaking laws. We are not out here acting violently. Right. We are not out here creating problems where there are none, because there are enough problems in the world. So good trouble only.
Good legal trouble only.
Yeah. And if you need some guidance
for y'all now.
yeah, if you need some guidance on whether if your trouble is good or bad, then just reach out. Forever. I am Crystal with a K.
I am Miss Megan Liana.
And we really appreciate y'all staying tuned for the first episode of That Good Trouble podcast. And we thank you, Megan.
Thank you for having me, Crystal. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And until next time, stay good.